bear with me, because this isn't easy to explain. I'm a single dad that has been experiencing a rough patch in my life. Bills are piling up, and my alimony isn't getting paid. Last week they towed my car away to the impound, just because I was 4 days late to the payment. The tipping point for me was Sunday though, when my little girl called me up from her mom's cell and asked if she could get a new Barbie doll for her birthday. I had promised her that Barbie since spring, and now, all because of my boss cutting back my hours, she was gonna have to go without it. After I told her the bad news, Janet got on the phone.
"You're a fucking bastard, Mike, you know that? Your little girl is literally crying in her room, bawling her eyes."
I felt like shit. And the pills I was taking for anxiety weren't helping. I know it was selfish, but well, I went to my bedroom and pulled out my old service weapon. It was a little worn, but I knew it would get the job done. I prayed to God that He forgive me for what I was about to do, and pulled the trigger. This is where everything gets a bit muddied. I know what I experienced wasn't a dream, but I also clearly distinctly remember waking up this morning about 5 miles away from my house, naked and exposed to the elements. I shivered and stood up, confused by the shift in perspective, but soon realized I was in a nearby park. I ran home before anyone caught sight of me, and I got ready for work at 5 in the morning. The only reason I knew for sure that something definitely did happen last night is because I checked my gun, and there's a bullet missing. Not to mention that my clothes I was wearing last night were neatly folded on the bed. I called my ex again, just to be sure I wasn't going crazy.
"What the hell is this, Mike? It's not even 7 o'clock, and you've called me for the past 3 hours on the hour since like 3:30.
I hung up the phone and looked around the house. How in the world had I called when I had apparently put a bullet in my skull? And of course, more importantly, why was I standing alive and breathing today? I checked my phone logs and noticed that I had also tried to call Donnie, my therapist. Several text messages all said the same thing. I tried to kill myself last night. I'll get it right tonight, the messages said. I was out of my head as I scrolled through the phone, trying to pick up the pieces up to account for my lost time. I checked messages, inbox, and social media. It seemed as though I had been active on every one of them, even going so far as to post a selfie on Instagram. Why didn't I remember any of this? I decided to check my other photos next, and noticed there were over 19 new photos, amounting to about 13 megabytes of data being used up. What the hell had I been doing? I skimmed through the photos, trying to make sense of them. As I kept moving towards the time of the incident, I was noticing the photos became more and more bizarre. Pictures of me lying on the ground with a strange symbol etched on the floor. Pictures of me with blood against my head and face. The final photo was a full frontal shot, and it showed what I had expected all along. Half of my face was blown off. I dropped my phone and looked around the room. I didn't feel alone anymore. And then I looked at the mirror. My reflection was smiling at me. "Do you get it yet, Michael?" he whispered. I felt like screaming, but no words came into my throat. "I saved you, Michael. I kept the ball rolling." I stepped towards the mirror, trying to imagine a way that any of this made sense. "And now that I have saved you, it's time you paid me in kind," the reflection said. "Repay you? How?" "Our worlds are much the same and yet so different. Your suffering is my luxury, and the opposite is also true. I need you to be where you are, just for one day, to finally experience happiness. You owe me that much, Michael." I felt a cold hand against my stomach. He was pulling me into the mirror. I tried to grab something, anything to get away. I smashed the glass, and my doppelganger came bursting through the portal. We scuffled across the floor, and he scrambled to grab my gun. I kicked him square in the jaw and took my firearm, not hesitating to blast him full of bullets right there on the bedroom floor. Once I was able to fully recover from the shock of the experience, reality set in. There was a dead body on the floor. Worse, it looked just like me. How the hell would I explain this to the police? I looked through the mirror. A sudden thought dawned on me. If I stepped into his world, I could replace him without anyone being the wiser. I could start things fresh. I placed him against the bed and put the gun in his hand. Since we shared the same fingerprints, I knew the police wouldn't even consider this bizarre alternative. I wish I knew why he had saved me last night. Maybe this was his purpose all along. I'm going to sign off now and step across the barrier. I can't wait to see what Janet thinks of me over there. Maybe we can even get back together. I just know I'm glad I killed myself last night.
Please leave your message